Thank you very much, Madam President. Madam President, it dawns on me as I've made my way to the Senate here today to respond to this motion on the adjournment that no matter how much one may scream from any pulpit, any mountain, any soapbox, or anywhere, it simply cannot change what is the truth. So I've listened over the past few days, past week, 2 weeks, at all of the various versions, all of the various attempts by those in the opposition, from the leader of the opposition go down, at their attempts to twist, to turn, to weave a narrative, and to tell a story that, quite frankly, is based on no fact. The truth is, and the truth can only be, because there is only one version of the truth. On the 27th of March, 2020, a meeting took place at the Diplomatic Center. At that meeting, present at that meeting, as has been stated by the government time and time again, the Prime Minister and myself, the meeting on the Trinidad delegation comprised the Honorable Prime Minister, the Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs, and myself. The meeting took place on the 27th of March, just after noon. The meeting lasted less than 40 minutes. My recollection was just about half an hour. And right after, a release was put out by the Office of the Prime Minister indicating to the world at large that the Prime Minister had met with the Vice President of Venezuela, Ms. Delcy Rodriguez. Ms. Delcy Rodriguez, as I had said before, in the first week of March, requested a meeting with the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister returned to Trinidad and Tobago on the 10th of March. He gave the clearance for a meeting. She requested of me for that meeting to be held. At no point in time whatsoever did either the Prime Minister or myself ask Ms. Delcy Rodriguez who would be part of her delegation. That simply is not part of how we operate. In fact, as I was listening to Senator Mark, it reminded me that not too long ago, the Honorable Prime Minister had a meeting at the same diplomatic center with at least about 15 or 20 of the latest installed U.S. generals in the Army and the Navy of the United States Army and the United States Navy. And again, we went into that meeting. Prior to the meeting, I had no listing of the delegation, nor did the Prime Minister. We met with all of these U.S. generals, and we spoke about certain things. So it is not abnormal. So on the 27th of March as well, no matter how they in the opposition try to twist and turn it, Mr. Asdrubal Chavez was not the president of PDVSA, and you will see the continued attempt by the opposition to make him a president of PDVSA or the president of PDVSA on the 27th of March. The motion that we're debating here today is the need for the government to disclose the reason or reasons for the Prime Minister receiving the president of PDVSA, Mr. Asdrubal Chavez. He was only made the president of PDVSA on the 27th of April, a month after. We subsequently found out that at the time when he was in the meeting with Ms. Delcy Rodriguez, the Prime Minister, Minister Moses, and myself, he was part of a committee to restructure PDVSA. We did not tell the Vice President of Venezuela whom she should bring. All of the other persons who accompanied her, security personnel, her personal secretary, others, and as we've now seen, other persons who it appears were employed with PDVSA, did not meet with the Prime Minister, Minister Moses, and myself. No matter how they tried to twist and turn it, the fact is they did not meet with us. They were put in a holding bay, someone separate in the diplomatic center. In fact, as we accompanied the Prime Minister down the stairs into the meeting, Ms. Rodriguez and Mr. Chavez were already seated in the room in PPE gear. So we did not meet anyone else, nor were we introduced to anyone else, Madam President. I've also heard Senator Mark talk about in Venezuela, people are saying that there's an oil and a gas deal and attributing it to the opposition. I have absolutely nothing to say about the opposition in Venezuela, but it did spin in my mind that if people were to listen to the opposition in Trinidad and take what the opposition in Trinidad said as the truth, 99% of the time they would be misled. There was absolutely no agreement signed on the 27th of March 2020. No agreement. No agreement with oil, no agreement with gas, no agreement with anything, Madam President. The meeting, and no matter how they continue with their narrative, it's not going to change. What was discussed at that meeting was aspects of COVID-19. COVID-19 is a deadly virus. We in Trinidad and Tobago were concerned because we already have 16,523 registered Venezuelans, and I'm certain a few more here, and we were worried that if COVID-19 took off at a rate in Venezuela, what would it mean for migratory pattern into Trinidad and Tobago and an influx? That is what the discussion was about. I'm sorry to disappoint the opposition and all others who wish the conversation could have been about something else. The meeting was a very short meeting with 5 persons there. The Prime Minister, Minister Moses, and myself represented Trinidad and Tobago. We met with Miss Delcy Rodriguez, and who I now know to be Mr. Chavez. And ironically, the photograph I've seen of Mr. Chavez circulating is one with himself, President Maduro, Mrs. Kamala Persad Bissessa, and Mr. Kevin Ramnarine. That's the photograph I've seen. Prior to that, I did not know who this gentleman was. There was no signing of any oil and gas agreement, and no matter how they tried to twist it otherwise, Madam President, the truth is the truth. What happened on the 27th of March is a fact. We met with those 2 individuals. He was not the president of PDVSA. On the 27th of March 2020, the president of PDVSA was in fact Minister Manuel Quevedo, not Mr. Chavez, and they can't change that fact. So, Madam President, I am sorry to continue disappointing my friends. I'm sorry to continue having to tell the population at every single opportunity the same facts over and over and over. But the facts that we speak are the truth. Thank you very much, Madam President.